The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus took Peter, John, and James and went up the mountain to pray. While he was praying, his face changed in appearance, and his clothing became dazzling white. And behold, two men were conversing with him, Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his exodus that he was going to accomplish in Jerusalem. Peter and his companions had been overcome by sleep, but becoming fully awake, they saw his glory and the two men standing with him. As they were about to part from him, Peter said to Jesus, "Master, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." But he did not know what he was saying. While he was still speaking, a cloud came and cast a shadow over them, and they became frightened when they entered the cloud. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, "This is my chosen son. Listen to him." After the voice had spoken, Jesus was found alone. They fell silent and did not at that time tell anyone what they had seen. The Gospel of the Lord. Peter thought the mountain was a good place, and he wanted to stay there. To that end, he wanted to make 3 tents, one for Jesus, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Moses and Elijah were great figures from their history. They spoke God's word to the people of Israel. They represented the law and the prophets. Peter thought all of them should stay together there on the top of that mountain. God corrected Peter because he was putting Moses and Elijah on the same level as Jesus. God proclaimed Jesus to be the chosen son. The law and the prophets are important, but Jesus is the one they should listen to. He is one with the Father. It's not about making a tent to house Jesus. Jesus needs to be listened to and followed. At the end of our gospel passage, we hear that the disciples didn't talk about their experience with anyone. They didn't talk about it until later. They didn't talk about it until after the exodus of Jesus had been accomplished. After Jesus had died, rose from the dead, and ascended to heaven. In the power of the Spirit, they became ministers of the Word. That same Spirit is with us today. In that Spirit is present in us and speaks through us. No one has a monopoly on the Spirit. Not the Pope, not the bishops, not the priests. The Spirit is in each one of us. And in particular, the Spirit is in us as a community. We are ministers of the Word. That's why Pope Francis is called the Synod. As the people of God, we are journeying together. The key component of the Synod process is the listening sessions. Pope Francis wants us to listen to each other. We need to hear Jesus speak in each other. Together, we will discern where the Spirit is leading the church today. Peter, James, and John were looking back at the great figures of their history. Maybe they thought there was a lot they could learn, they could still learn from Moses and Elijah. God challenged them to look around. They had someone even greater right there with them. Jesus is God's chosen son. Jesus has been walking with the church for 2,000 years. Jesus is present in us, and he speaks through us. God is calling us today to look around and to listen to each other.